Olivia Newton-John dazzled stages with timeless hits and fearless vocal power. David Bowie reshaped music, constantly reinventing himself and challenging the limits of artistic identity today. Richard Lewis turned raw comedy into a relentless, self-examining performance art, exposing vulnerability with razor-sharp honesty and courage. Coolio brought West Coast rap into mainstream culture with unforgettable beats and lyrical flow. Ray Stevenson embodied fierce characters, delivering intensity on screen and stage. Elvis Presley ignited rock and roll, his magnetic stage presence redefining performance for generations to follow. Leonardo DiCaprio walks onto a red carpet, not just as a star, but as a battlefield. The conflict that defines his public life is the clash between a Hollywood career built on blockbuster profit and a relentless, often uncomfortable, environmental activism that puts him at odds with the very industry that funds his projects. Critics accuse him of hypocrisy, pointing to his luxury real estate holdings and private jet usage, while climate groups hail his documentaries and fundraising as vital. This tension fuels every decision he makes, shaping a work ethic that is less about glamour and more about disciplined preparation. From a young age in Los Angeles, DiCaprio was enrolled in acting classes at the Buckley School, where teachers noted his uncanny ability to inhabit a character beyond his years. By 11, he was already appearing in commercials, learning the mechanics of a set, the long hours, the takes, the relentless repetition that would later become his hallmark. His breakout role in What's Eating Gilbert Grape, 1993, was not a lucky break. It was the result of months of script analysis, meetings with the director Lasse Hallström, and a commitment to portraying the physical limitations of his character's disability. DiCaprio's dedication earned him an Academy Award nomination, but more importantly, it taught him that credibility comes from research, not merely charisma. The next decade saw him courting both critical acclaim and commercial success, a duality that required a tightrope walk between artistic integrity and box office expectations. When Martin Scorsese approached him for The Aviator, 2004, DiCaprio dove into the world of Howard Hughes with obsessive precision. He studied Hughes's diaries, learned to fly a plane, and even adopted the billionaire's erratic sleep schedule to capture the man's inner turmoil. Scorsese praised DiCaprio's willingness to live the edge of the character, a phrase that would echo throughout his career. Preparation for The Departed, 2006, demanded a different kind of discipline. Working under director Brian De Palma's tight shooting schedule, DiCaprio rehearsed scenes repeatedly, focusing on micro-expressions that would convey his undercover cop's tension. He kept a journal of each take, noting subtle changes in posture and tone, a habit that turned each performance into a data-driven experiment. The result was a layered portrayal that earned him another Oscar nomination and cemented his reputation as a relentless craftsman. It was Inception, 2010, that forced DiCaprio to confront the limits of his own imagination. Director Christopher Nolan required him to master complex dream logic sequences, demanding that he memorize intricate choreography and maintain emotional continuity across multiple timeline layers. DiCaprio's preparation included weeks of physical training to execute the film's famed rotating hallway fight, a testament to his belief that a role is as much about the body as the mind. The apex of his physical commitment arrived with The Revenant, 2015. To portray frontiersman Hugh Glass, DiCaprio endured sub-zero temperatures in the Canadian wilderness, ate raw elk liver, and learned to wield a bow with authentic technique. He refused stunt doubles for the brutal bear attack, insisting on a prosthetic that would still convey the visceral impact of the scene. The grueling process left him with frostbite and a broken wrist, yet the performance earned him his first Academy Award, proving that disciplined suffering can translate into cinematic triumph. Parallel to his acting, DiCaprio cultivated a parallel career as a producer through his company Appian Way. The venture began with The Wolf of Wall Street, 2013, where he financed the film's extensive set pieces, learning the economics of large-scale production. Appian Way's first documentary, The 11th Hour, 2007, marked his entry into environmental storytelling, a project that required him to interview scientists, policymakers, and activists, turning a celebrity platform into a conduit for climate education. His activism, however, is not without controversy. In 2018, a lawsuit filed by a paparazzi photographer accused DiCaprio of defamation after the actor publicly condemned invasive media tactics. The case was dismissed, but it underscored the personal cost of his public stance against privacy violations. Likewise, a 2021 investigation by The Guardian highlighted discrepancies between his public advocacy and private investments in fossil fuel assets, prompting DiCaprio to divest from several holdings and publicly pledge greater transparency. These conflicts have not slowed his creative output. In 2019, he starred in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, delivering a nuanced performance that required him to study 1960s acting styles, complete with period-specific speech patterns and physical mannerisms. He spent weeks on set, observing the era's cinematic language, ensuring his character fits seamlessly into Quentin Tarantino's meticulously crafted world. Today, DiCaprio balances his on-screen roles with a growing slate of environmentally focused projects. He is producing The Last Ice, a documentary exploring the rapid melt of Arctic glaciers, and he continues to speak at United Nations climate summits, using his celebrity to amplify scientific consensus. His latest acting venture, a yet-to-be-announced thriller, is already rumored to involve extensive location shooting in remote, ecologically sensitive regions, a choice that reflects his commitment to merging art with advocacy. Leonardo DiCaprio's story is not a linear ascent, but a series of deliberate, often uncomfortable choices. By embedding rigorous preparation, data-driven rehearsal, and an unflinching willingness to expose personal risk, he has turned conflict into a catalyst for growth. The tension between his Hollywood success and environmental mission remains unresolved, but it fuels a career that continues to evolve, proving that disciplined craft can coexist with and even amplify a larger purpose. In the end, DiCaprio's legacy is still being written. Each new role, each documentary, each public statement adds another layer to a portrait of a man who refuses to let fame dictate his narrative. He remains on the front line of both cinema and climate, a living example of how the hardest work often happens behind the scenes, far from the bright lights of the red carpet.